we like to wait for the facts to come out before we come with our argument, right? That prevents your argument from being biased or being everyone has a bias, but you want the least amount of bias that you can possibly have when you go into a conversation. You want to present the facts, okay? And then you can give your opinion based on those facts. That's not what the liberal does. The liberal will jump at an opportunity when a story comes out if it's against or something that harms their reputation or their friend's reputation or someone they support or like. They will obfuscate. They will hide the information. They will suppress the information. They'll banish you if you decide you want to come forward with the information. You could be thrown in jail if it's somebody like something like Joe Biden's daughter's diary. So we're going to talk about where the diary came from. How did Project Veritas get the diary? Oh, they stole it. They stole the diary. Oh, they're so evil. Those Republicans, those Trump supporters, those evil Trump supporters stealing diaries from little girls, right? Meanwhile, actually, she wasn't a little girl at the time. But meanwhile, everything that Joe Biden is doing or everything that he allegedly did is swept under the rug. Shh. Look at those bad Trump supporters stealing diaries from little girls. Shut up, liberal. All right, so let's take a look at what was in the diary. You probably read what was in it. I can't read it here because it's X-rated and it's involving that word that starts with a P. Your president is involved in the things that you claim to hate, but yet you support this man. You put this man in office over Donald J. Trump, a man whose kids is not running around smoking dope with prostitutes. You put this man in office, a known pedophile, and look at the results. Look at the results. Man, where are the Biden supporters now? I'm going to do a stream. I'm just going to entitle it Explain Biden. That's the title of the stream. Explain Biden. I'm inviting all liberals to come in and share their explanation of why they voted for, or if they still support Joe Biden today, why they still support Joe Biden today. Was Trump really that bad? Was his tweets really that offensive? This is offensive. Not only is this offensive to humanity, but it's offensive to God, which you didn't have on Trump. All you had was his tweets, his mean tweets. This is offensive to God because this involves the abuse of an innocent child who can't defend herself from her dad. America's dad, your America's dad, Joe Beijing Biden. Here is the proof that the FBI, DOJ acknowledged the existence of the laptop. I was going to say the laptop. They acknowledged the existence of the laptop also, by the way, which they wouldn't do at first, remember? Wait a couple of weeks. When they say it's not true, or when they say something is true, either way, wait a couple of weeks until the facts come out, and then watch their stories change. Watch their narrative shift. Remember Hunter Biden's laptop? Remember that was just Russian misinformation, right? Remember that ruse? Remember that lie?
The idea that somehow when making the Hunter Biden decision in the midst of an election campaign, we're saying, oh, we got to be careful about Russian disinformation. But all through 2016, 2017, we now know that it was the Hillary Clinton campaign that was creating that dossier, paying for it, and that became the basis of a New York Times Pulitzer Prize. And it
Well,
turns
there
out
was a separate FBI investigation based on completely different evidence.
But George, no, George. Look, Operation Crossfire Hurricane was all about the potential infiltration of the Trump campaign by the Russians. The basis of that was the dossier. And instead of
most news organizations, Chris, didn't publish the dossier.
No, they didn't publish the dossier, Ruth, but what they did was aggressively pursue that and call it as if it was fact. And with the Hunter Biden case, Twitter took the New York Post Twitter account down.
Did you hear the liberal trying to run interference on the facts? They just don't like to hear facts. Face the facts. Donald Trump was right. So was every conservative who suggested that this was, in fact, the truth, that this was, in fact, going on. And all of this came out before the election, but they wanted Joe Biden to win. So to ensure his victory, they suppressed that information. They kept that information from you as a citizen, or as citizens in this country. They kept information from you so that you would more likely vote for Biden. You would probably more likely vote for Biden anyway, even if that information did come out. That's just how morally depraved this part of America is, or this America is. We make this offer in good faith. This is Project Veritas. Before they came out with the information, I'm going to show you how they got the information. But even the liberals saying that, oh, they stole it, how does that change the fact that this girl, this woman as a young girl, is telling you what her father was doing to her sexually? How does that change those facts? They stole the diary. Those bad Republicans. They stole the diary. They shouldn't have had it. They invaded her privacy. I'm going to show you how they got the diary and why they weren't ashamed of how they got it. And interesting couple. They were trying to get rich off of what they found in the diary. Mr. Biden, in good faith, they're just saying, we want you to come out with your side of the story. Should we not hear from you by Tuesday, October the 20th, it's before the election, we will have no choice but to act unilaterally and reserve the right to disclose that you refused our offer to provide answers to the questions raised by your daughter. All right, this is Project Veritas, the writing to president at the time, vice president at the time, Joe Biden, asking for an interview regarding what they had discovered. And of course, Joe Biden said, hell no. No, to the no. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is from the DOJ, the Department of Justice. I'm sorry, I just had to laugh at the way that they're framing this opportunity to, they think will be what will ultimately cover up this what happened here. This incident. They think that they're going to be able to cover this up. They might be able to do it. I mean, you're talking about a group of people who fortified an entire federal election in the United States of America. And I'm using the New York Times article, Time Magazine article, rather. I'm using their terminology, fortified. Okay. Biden's tentacles run very deep into the swamp. He's been doing this for decades. He's been doing this for decades and getting away with it. Florida residents plead guilty. What did they plead guilty to? Interstate transportation of stolen property. What was the stolen property? Ashley's diary. I'm going to show you how they stole it. Damian Williams, this is another one of these Crump lawyer, social justice warrior, lawyer, um, woke individuals here. That's all you need to know about him. The U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York and Michael Driscoll, they announced that Amy Harris, here's the first individual, and Robert Kurlander. I thought they were married. I thought there might be a couple. Um, I don't know if they were married or not, but I love this couple. They pled guilty to conspiracy to commit interstate transportation. You see how they trump up charges, just like they did to January 6th? Protesters, rioters, quote unquote, people who were let into the Capitol. We're gonna charge them. We're gonna trump up the charges. Yeah, make them stick. It's 6 months in a DC prison without the opportunity to post bail. This is how they do it. And if they want to come get you one day, they can. This is why we need to stop this. Interstate transportation of stolen property involving the theft of personal belongings of an immediate family member. Who are they talking about? Wonder who they're talking about here. Of then former government official who was to be a candidate for a national political office. I'm talking about Biden. Harris and Kuhlander pled guilty today before United States magistrate or judge Sarah Cave and will be sentenced by the chief United U.S. District Judge, Lord Taylor Swain. Harris and Kurlander, according to Williams, stole personal property from an immediate family member. That's Ashley, an immediate family member. They really want these two. They really want to punish these two. But they can't stop the diary. They can't make it disappear. And that's why they're so upset. They sold the property to an organization in New York. I wonder who that might be. That was Project Veritas, right? For $40,000 and even returned to take more of the victim's property when asked to do so. So Project Veritas, upon receiving the diary, said, hey, we can't confirm that this is actually Ashley's diary. Can you go back and get some more information or personal information from hers so that we can confirm, yes, this is actually her diary? So they did that. All right. So they now stand convicted of a federal felony as a result. All right. When I show you how they retrieved or obtained the diary, you're going to realize that this is a bunch of BS. All right. This is all about politics, just like Trump's heavily redacted affidavit coming after him for documents that he declassified, but that's another stream. FBI assistant Driscoll said they've admitted with today's plea. So they're pleading guilty. They pled guilty right away. They pled guilty right away because they did, quote unquote, steal. And again, when a liberal says that someone stole something from him, ask him what he means by stole. You have to get these liberals to define every single term. I know sometimes it is laborious or painstaking, but they are so deceptive in their speech. They are so deceptive, just like their father in the garden. Remember him? Have God said it? They are so deceptive with their words. You have to get them to define every single thing that they say, every single term that they say, because they redefine terms. They'll redefine a term 1 week and use that redefinition and then go back to the standard definition that they've been using for the last 40 years the next week. You must get the liberal, when you're debating a liberal, first find out if he's a liberal. If he voted for Biden, he's probably a liberal. You must force them to define their terms, like the word propensity, Jay Pasick. All right. In or around September 2020, oh my goodness, Harris and Kurlander conspired to steal and transport across state lines and sell personal property that belonged to an individual. The victim, who's the victim in more than one way. Certainly, Harris and Kurlander are not the only ones who victimized this young girl. According to her own diary, her father did. Yeah, the man you voted for, whom Harris and Kurlander knew was an immediate family member. Oh, so because they knew it was Biden's daughter, they should have left the diary there. They should not have, or maybe they should have taken it to the police. Maybe they should have taken it to the police. The victim had stored, but they wanted they wanted to get paid. The victim had stored the property, including a handwritten journal containing highly personal entries. Yeah, it got personal. Okay, all right, it sure did get personal. Tax records, digital storage card, et cetera, et cetera. Harris and Kurlander, after obtaining this information, made contact with an employee of an organization based in New York, Mamaroneck. Not familiar with that area. It must be somewhere upstate. That's Project Veritas, who instructed them to use an encrypted application. Why? Because they deal with corrupt, tyrannical governments all the time, or at least the Obama administration, and of course yours truly. So they know that the FBI is going to be uh, sent after them to try to figure out or stop them from releasing this information or getting the information out there to the public. So they asked them to use encrypted applications to text and to communicate. After receiving the photographs, they offered to pay the couple, and they paid them each 20,000, 20 grand. So they each got paid 20 grand for the stolen property. The stolen property. And there are names: Amy and 40. She's 40. He's 58. He's 18 years older than her. And that the liberal might say, hey, that's abuse. But wait a minute. What about Ashley's? Under the terms of the plea agreement, Harris and Kurlander agreed to forfeit the 20,000, and Kurlander agreed to cooperate with the government. So there it is. That's from the U.S. Department of Justice, the DOJ, the Southern District of New York. Was immediately released. This was back on August the 25th. So those are the charges. Those are the charges they're looking at. Here's the actual court case, and we'll start to get in a little bit more detail as to how they got the diary. Did you notice they're not really telling you how they stole the diary? You must, when you're dealing with a liberal, you must force them to define their terms. I'm going to upload a debate that I had with MathPig, where I forced him to define his terms, and the debate ended at that point because he knew he didn't have an argument once he couldn't use or throw out the arbitrary, obligatory terms that they're so used to using, right? These moral platitudes, these altruistic, I'm altruistic, and they throw these terms around. But then when you ask them to define what they actually mean by these terms, like woman, for example.
You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
that describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
So the definition of a woman is woman. Duh. United States District Court, Southern District of New York, United States of America, or we could just say Biden. versus Amy Harris and Robert Kurlander. Conspiracy to commit. This is the actual case. This is the actual case I'm looking at, guys. So just not making this stuff up. All I do is present the facts on this channel. I told you. This is United States conspiracy to commit interstate stolen. Now they'll have to get into some details on how they stole the property here, right? Yes, and they will. In or about September 2020, Amy and Robert, the defendants, conspired to steal, transport across state lines. Took the diary. They took the diary across state lines. Oh, oh, the humanity. Oh, what? What? What are we gonna do with these two? What are we gonna do with these two? I mean, where are we gonna put these? Are we gonna put them in the DC gulag like you did the January 6th conspirators for 6 months and not give them the opportunity to post bail? But you let a serial murderer out or back onto the streets to kill again, right? Liberal logic 101. And sell personal property that belonged to an individual, the victim. Okay. Um, much of this we read already. Candidate one, that's Biden. Candidate one, that is Biden. The victim had stored the property in a private residence in Florida. They were temporary. This is a private residence in Delray Beach, Florida, in which they were temporarily residing. After Harris stole the property, he enlisted Kurlander to help facilitate its sale. All right. Harris and Kurlander then met in Manhattan with Project Veritas. We know that organization. Uh, During that meeting, Harris described the circumstances of how they obtained the property and provided the property to the organization, Project Veritas. They later met with the organization. We know this already. Believing the organization, Project Veritas, would transport or cause the transport of the stolen property from Florida to New York. Ultimately, the agency, Project Veritas, paid them $20,000. We know this already. All right, here we go. Harris's initial theft of the victim's property. Initial theft of the victim's property. In or about the spring of 2020, the victim resided with a friend. Uh-oh. The friend, who's the friend? At the residence. When the victim moved out of the residence in or about June 2020, the friend gave the victim permission to store a significant number of personal items at the residence. Okay. So, what was stored? The diary was stored at the residence, which the victim did. So, because her friend allowed her to keep her stuff at the residence, where she eventually moved out of, her stuff was already there. So these two didn't break into Ashley's room, somehow avoid Secret Service, and pull out the diary under the eye of the Secret Service. Somehow these two managed to get, no. The diary was left by Ashley. It was stored away at the residence. She left it there. A new couple moved in to the residence, or I don't know if he lived with her or they were a couple, but they sure became a power couple really quickly when they found out what they can do with this. They can make some money. Okay, so the victim, that's Ashley, and again, she's a victim of her dad, first and foremost. The victim, Ashley, left the diary at the residence. All right. Here's the journal containing highly personal entries. That's they keep using that terminology. Highly personal entries. Yeah, sure did get personal, up close and personal. Clothing, luggage. Okay. 2 days later, approximately around about after the victim Ashley moved out, the friend invited Amy Harris, the defendant. So that's how Amy Harris got the diary. She was temporarily staying in the same room that Ashley previously used. And Ashley's diary was in that room. While there, Harris discovered the property that the victim was storing in the residence. Look at this last sentence. At the time, Harris knew that the victim was a member of the immediate family of candidate one, that's Biden. So, oh, this is the president's daughter's diary. So let it stay here. No. She took it. So this wasn't a strong arm robbery where she kicked down the door or she snuck into Ashley's room. The diary was already in her possession. It was in her temporary residence, or where she was temporarily sleeping or staying. All right. And then she, of course, contacts her boyfriend because she's figuring, hey, we can move out of these apartments and we can buy a home, maybe get married. Maybe he's probably thinking, look, I'm 58 years old, lady. I've already been married 15 times already. All right. So she contacts him, and then they talk about selling the journal. All right. And that same day, Kurland texts. I love this couple. He texts Harris that he would help her make a ton of money selling the victim's property or Ashley's diary. All right, so then they attended the fundraiser to the benefit of the campaign of an individual. We'll call him Candidate 2. We know who that is, who was running for office against Candidate 1. Harris and Kurlander attended the fundraiser with the intent of showing Ashley's diary to a campaign representative of Trump, hoping that the political campaign would purchase it. The defendant, Amy Harris, or text on Sunday, you may have a chance to make so much money, Robert said. Robert, this guy, as soon as he heard about the diary, he's like, okay, I've seen this movie before. We know what to do with that. We know what to do with that diary. We're going to make some money. All right. So that's how the diary was obtained. All right. So stop this. They stole the diary. They should be prosecuted to the highest extent of the law. How dare they? I haven't heard one liberal say they broke into her house and broke into her room and stole her diary. No, not exactly how it happened. There you have it right here. I only provide the facts. Stop your blood clot whining, liberal. They want me to run. They want me to be president. So I can't let this come out yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Do that. You only arrest for the purpose of dealing with a felony that's committed, and I don't count drunk driving as a felony.
Lord help us. She like, man, I'm so sorry for voting for this man. Hopefully she learned her lesson, and hopefully her grandmama, auntie, they'll start to realize that.
Why is he giving $100 billion to low-income communities? He's so racist. If he's so racist, why he's the president that reopened back funding for HBCUs?
So you're 100% for Trump?
150,000%.
Damn, all right, nigga.
Who would you be for, Obama? What did he do? I'll wait. You tell me one thing he did. Oh, but he's racist, but yet he signed into law the jail reform law that freed over 4,000 people, 97% were black. But he's racist, though. This is what racists do. This is the new era of racism. I need that racism. I like it. I like it. If that's racist, let me get more of that.
That's race. If look, blacks are starting to wake up. The blacks are starting. Some of them. If that's racism, give me more of that racism, please. You redefined racism to the point where racism doesn't exist. That's what Jill means when he says racism doesn't exist. The classical definition of racism, they redefined wokeism. Blacks are inferior, therefore we need to provide more help. And if you don't provide more help, you're racist. That's racism. That's 19th century racism. That's what they taught. That's what psychologists taught. Of course, the help part wasn't included. Right? It was exterminate them because we need to get rid of the unfit so that they don't infect our fit genes. Right? That's what Margaret Sanger believed. That's what much of the evolutionary scientists were teaching.
We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. I accepted an invitation to talk to the women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan. I was escorted to the platform, was introduced, and began to speak. In the end, through simple illustrations, I believed I had accomplished my purpose. A dozen invitations to speak to similar groups were proffered.
Yeah, so all the liberal has done now is suggest the same thing, only they're going to help us. We're going to help you with your inferiority. So the gang wars continue in Chicago. Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Let me let you hear a clip from Miss Lightfoot, professed lesbian. She's the current Democratic mayor of Chicago. Chicago hasn't had a Republican mayor since the 20s. If I'm not mistaken, someone can fact check me on that. Lori Lightfoot, her policies, her actions are completely fascist and corrupt. She's a violent woman. She refuses to do interviews with white people. She's the second birthing person to hold the office. She's done nothing but shown support for communism and communist causes. This violent Democrat, Lori Lightfoot, targeted Trump administration officials, making publicly threatening comments towards the White House press secretary at the time. Trump's White House press secretary. 2018, Chicago recorded 561 murders. That's more than the two biggest U.S. cities, New York and Los Angeles, combined. Let me repeat that again. Facts. These are your cities that you've been running for the past 6 decades. Chicago recorded 561 murders in 2018, more than New York and Los Angeles combined. Virtually all black on black crime, of course. That's Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Here she is.
For you had a whole room of people that you're holding up by not asking a question. And I know you like to film me, and then you like to go on Fox News.
Every other reporter here is filming you.
Yeah, so
I'm not the only reporter filming you.
But what I want you to do is ask a question, sir. Don't give me your right-wing nonsense and spewing of facts that are completely untethered from the reality. Just ask a question. That's all I'm asking you. Ask a question so we can move on.
Well, I'm not the only reporter filming
Ask
you.
a question.
Right.
What's your question?
The obvious question is simply this. There are numerous violent crimes here in the city of Chicago, right? Last night, a teenager was shot in the head on our beautiful lakefront. People around the city, the state, and not only the country, but around the world.
I'm going to ask you one more
view
time.
Chicago.
I'm going to ask you one more time. Ask a question or we're moving on, sir.
What do you say to the people around the world who view Chicago under your administration as a no-go zone? What do you say to those people about your lack of seeming sympathy or understanding about the violent crime
Yeah,
problem in
Mayor,
Chicago?
what do you say to that? We have good bagels.
Thank you, sir, for asking your question.
We have good
Thank you
cream
for finally
cheese.
getting your question. Your assumption and your question couldn't be more wrong. Every single week, multiple times a week, we talk specifically about the things that we're doing to combat violent crime in the short term and in the long term.
Was that the
when
question?
you walk in my shoes, sir, then you might have the ability to say something, but because you don't, and because you hide behind your microphone.
Are you suggesting that I walk in your shoes?
Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt me.
Okay.
Because you
Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
You don't walk.
You'll
the
get
walk
thrown in jail.
Of the talk and the rhetoric. When you do, sir, then you have the right to say something else. Now, you may not agree
You're
with
not
it,
an expert.
and you clearly don't. And you and I probably don't agree on anything because our worldviews are obviously different. And when you talk about the fact that people across the world say that this is a no-go zone, you clearly don't walk outside in the city of Chicago. You clearly don't see the millions of tourists that are here in Chicago. 30.5 million last year. We'll break that record this year. We're seeing our convention business come rebounding back. We're seeing people booking into 2025, 2026. This is a great, beautiful, global city. And the right-wing characterization of our city as something other than what it is, I categorically reject it. But the proof is there. You walk our streets, you see our beautiful, iconic places of visit. They are filled with residents and tourists alike who stop me and tell me how beautiful our city is and how grateful they are to be in Chicago.
It's beautiful.
Second question.
My second question. I was born and raised in Chicago. I walk the streets every single day of my life.
560
So I
words. That's
and I love
sir?
Chicago
Is there
very,
a
very
question,
much.
sir?
The
Is
last
there a
time I
question,
was
sir?
here, you said I sounded stupid. I asked about your response to a mass shooting. There have been 3 or 4 new mass shootings since that time. I asked you to rescind your violent call to arms tweet. Since that time, there was a death threat against a Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh.
was. What do you got to say about that,
all
Lori?
of the violence in the city of
No,
Chicago.
it's okay. Let him spring together his conspiracy theories. Go ahead.
Conspiracy
But
theory.
get to
It
the
was
question.
reported on the
But get
news
to-
that
but
Brett
get to the-
Kavanaugh had
Get to the question.
a death threat. Will you finally, at long last, rescind your violent call to arms tweet?
Conspiracy.
Sir, again, the facts are the facts. My comment was about rising up in opposition to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And you and the other right-wing nuts can try to characterize it any possible way.
Excuse
that
me.
you can.
Is that appropriate?
Yeah, it is.
Is that appropriate?
It is appropriate.
It's not
It is
appropriate.
The
It's
white,
clearly not
right-wing
appropriate.
nut media of which you are part tried
Clearly
to
not
mischaracterize my comments about Roe v. Wade as something other than it was.
Clearly not appropriate, Jay. Clearly. That's Lori Lightfoot. Lori Lightfoot, by the way, fired the same woman who fired Chicago mayor. 1/3, more than a third, of the Chicago police force for not complying with the Marxist mandates, vaccine mandates. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Not too bad.
I haven't seen you in a while. Well, I haven't streamed in a while, so I guess that,
Yeah.
that correlates.
I
How's
was
it
just
going?
popping in. I mean, it's all right, but I was just
Link is in
wondering
the
why.
chat for anyone else that wants to come in, talk about whatever. I just thought I would let you guys know about Ashley's diary today. I wasn't even planning on streaming. I just decided, hey, let me just go live. But what's up?
Yeah. No, I was wondering why you're focusing on politicians, because I don't think you can get anywhere focusing on politicians. It's just back and forth, red team, blue team, my guy's better than yours. I mean, they're all corrupt, aren't they?
Probably, just like we.
But it is 9/11, so there's
Yeah.
that.
They're all corrupt, yes. But I think one side is promoting values that are closest to the biblical values. Matter of fact, not closest, are biblically sound. Marriage, family, it's a responsibility. And the other side is promoting values that are inextricably a violation, no doubt, violation of scripture. So I will side with the red team. But they're all corrupt.
I
Right?
see what you're saying, right? Like
they all need Jesus Christ as their Lord and personal Savior, or they're all going to hell. You're right.
Yeah, they're both promoting an image to gather us in division. Ultimately, though, they're never going to solve anything. They're always creating problems.
Should you be divided with someone, with a teacher, for example, who wants to teach your child about gay sex? Should you be divided from that individual according to scripture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So division is not always wrong. Right. So when you hear,
no, I agree. It's not always wrong. It's just there's a bigger picture with politicians. You agreed that they're all corrupt. So once you agree to that,
all people are corrupt.
Right.
So they're no more corrupt. Trump is no more corrupt than I am.
Well, perhaps, right? But there's measures of corruption, right? Like there's differences in what people do, and there's obviously blaspheming the Holy Spirit, which would be more corrupted than other sins, right?
I like to think of it like this. If this person is a bad person, but their policies make it so that I have opportunities to become successful, and they're not harmful to the women and children, even though that person may secretly be an evil person, I'm still going to side with the side who is promoting the policies that will better women and children. That's my take on politics. What's going on, Talking Trees?
Hey, what's going on, boss man? How you doing?
Yeah, and we need to stop calling certain issues political. Abortion is not a political issue. The prophets and the apostles, especially John the Baptist. John the Baptist lost his head over an adulterous relationship or an incestual relationship. He lost his head speaking out against that, against one of the politicians of that day. Right? Abortion is not a political issue. Abortion is about the life of a creature that's created in the image of God. They turned it into a political issue so you'll stop talking about it. Right? So that when you go to the bar, you can't talk about politics or religion. So they included that into the political issue, or they politicized it, and now we can't talk about it. I would disagree. I would say that if the apostles were alive today, they would be doing maybe not all of what Charlie Kirk is doing, not exclusively what Charlie Kirk is doing, but they would be doing some of what Charlie Kirk is doing. Right? Going to universities, letting these kids know the facts, right? So if that's your political stance, I don't have a problem with it. But if you're a liberal and you claim to be a Christian, you're a liar. You can be a conservative and be a Christian, but you cannot be a liberal and be a Christian. So the divide is not political, the divide is morality. We're divided on moral grounds. This is right, this is wrong. Not your tax plan is better than my tax plan, or your economic policies are better than my economic policies, right? Talking Trees, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just listening to what you got going on. Crazy stuff, man. Especially that part about Project Veritas and the secret. What was it you were saying? There was like an app or something, like a.
Yes, they use encrypted text messages.
There you go.
Antifa uses them all the time to commit
now that
mayhem.
app is it like one of those apps like Signal or something like that, like there where it's like or like Gorilla Email or whatever it's called, where it's like
you sound like you have experience doing this. What are you doing? Are you a spy?
Am I a spy?
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I
I
don't
was
know.
just like, what?
I don't know any of the apps, but I do
Well,
know there are.
the only reason I even know anything of that because I've heard James mention that kind of stuff on his show. When he talks about how he'll get like email threats and stuff like that, and it'll be like guerrilla mail, and like where it's like
Oh,
it'll self erase in like 10 minutes or something like that.
wow.
Yeah, so I mean, I've heard him mention it himself.
So it just like James Bond, like this message will delete in 5 seconds, right? Something like that.
Exactly. So instead of James Bond, we've got James O'Keefe saying that these people are using the same measures that are, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of, to me, it's just kind of, I don't know, kind of ironic.
Right.
Yeah. How do you feel about him,
About who?
O'Keefe?
That's the president, Project Veritas.
Yeah, the yeah.
Oh, that's a reporter. Yeah, I don't know if he's a president or reporter, but no, he's doing
I
his
thought he was
job.
all.
I mean,
I thought he was kind of like all in one.
yeah, he's doing his job. That's what reporting is. That's what it used to be, right?
Yeah.
You come out with
Can I
a
ask you?
story. Yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
sure.
Yeah. So do you think? And this isn't. It's just kind of. It's not really like a trick question or nothing like that. But it was just more of like, do you think that people like Veritas or some of these more popular like conservative, quote unquote conservative guys, do you think that they could be in on the liberal agenda as well as kind of like a counterintelligence kind of thing? You understand what I mean? Like kind of like a Hegelian, like present them with the opposite, like
Alternative
controlled opposition. You understand
control
what I mean?
opposition. Yeah. Um, I think there is control opposition, but they're losing control, and I think Trump had a lot to do with that. I
Okay.
think I think what you pre-Trump, I would agree,
Yeah.
but I think
So
Trump
you so
has
yeah.
done a lot to expose what really was going on in DC. It's not about red versus blue, it's about good versus evil.
Uh-huh. Do you think that at any time, do you think that, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you think that there could be such an, because you obviously believe that, like in deep state and stuff like that.
No, I don't believe it. I know it. I did a video on
Yeah,
Spygate. The tentacles run
yeah,
deep. CIA, FBI.
yeah.
I mean, we know who
Now
these
that's
guys are,
perfect.
Brenner. We know who these guys are. They don't hide
Yeah,
anymore. They used to hide
yeah.
back in the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I understand there's funny business and all that other stuff. I guess what I'm getting at is, do you think that evil could go so much further deep that potentially they would be? Do you think that they could be using the
Who is
conservative
they?
slash they
Who's
as in the
they?
deep state? You don't have to worry about
Uh,
me having to switch between definitions like you were saying earlier. Like I'm pretty direct when I'm
the
talking.
deep state.
Yeah,
I think the rich families or the deep state who are controlled by the richest people on the planet who control this country. I think they would love to play both sides, but I think the
yeah,
side that they're playing at this point in time in our history is the Democratic Party. In fact, they've taken over the Democratic Party,
yeah,
and they're using that as the weapon that they will wield, rather. Uh, in the 60s, it was in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was the Democratic Party, also the Dixiecrat Party,
yeah,
uh, where they used the political party to establish their goal to, and they were trying to keep slavery a thing, keep
hmm
slavery alive, keep hope alive. They wanted to keep slavery alive because there was a lucrative business, and they knew it that collapsed, and so would their economy.
yeah,
In fact, that's exactly what happened to the South, which is why the South is so much far behind in the North as far as industries are concerned, because they relied on slavery for so long, um,
yeah,
and not uh, the industrial movement or revolution didn't really start in the South until after slavery ended.
yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I understand that these groups will infiltrate.
Hmm.
But I do think that within those groups there are good people who haven't been compromised, who can't be compromised.
Hmm.
I do think there are good people who just have been compromised. Maybe there is a video out there on them, and they really came into this wanting to do the right thing. But
Yeah.
now there are people who are in higher places, wickedness in high places, who have information on them and will expose them and ruin their lives if they don't do X. So I think that's going
Mm.
on also. But they're not evil, bad people. Some of them are on both sides. I think there are Democrats who are they're in, deep, what, right? Because of
Yeah.
things that they've done in the past. And um, they have
Kind of
information
like
and
a
have tape
honeypot.
video.
Yeah.
A honeypot.
Yeah. Kind of
You
like
guys
that. You
able
mean?
to?
Yeah, we hear you, Jay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so I agree with everything you're saying. I think there is evil on both sides. But
Yeah.
if I'm going to promote one thing, I don't promote candidates. I just agree with the Republican or the GOP platform more than anything.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean, but you're using the right word. It's a promotion. They promote a certain set of ideas, but
Right.
whether they actually follow through with them or incorporate them is a different story. And I think there's enough evidence over time to see that nothing really changes no matter who you get in the spot. Little things change here and there, but overall, it's just a ruling class versus a lower class, and people are getting
The
poorer
classic.
and poorer.
Yep. The classic Hegelian dialect.
Yeah, yeah. But I did want to ask you, since it's 9/11, um, that's interesting in itself. That's a red team operation. So there's that. And then, did you notice any discrepancies in the Flight 93, the Pennsylvania or the Pentagon plane issue, Jill?
You know what? I really haven't looked into any of the conspiracy theories in a while. It's been about 10 years before I've actually dove into. Has any new information? What do you have?
Well, I was wondering if you'd ever seen the satellite footage from the alleged Pennsylvania Flight 93 that there's some footage. It's actually still up on YouTube, which almost everything is deleted, but there's a satellite footage from 1994 which shows a scar in the ground where that flight allegedly landed.
And
Like,
it wasn't
well,
wasn't
we're
plain or
well, you have like a long scar maybe that goes like I'm saying scar like an indentation in the ground that would be like the plane's wings, and then on 9/11 you see that same indentation with a circle in the middle of it. I don't know if this is making sense to you. It's easier if you'd watched the footage, but there's already a huge scar in the ground, and then on 9/11 there's something in the middle that's been added to it. But there's no plane parts and no body parts and no wings, as though it all just vaporized. So just the satellite footage coupled with simple physics, I was interested to know if you hadn't looked into that, if you had looked into that particular aspect of it. And also,
no? Well, what's the claim? Is that the plane never really landed there, or what? What's the
oh,
theory?
well, the Flight 93 crashed in Pennsylvania,
Right.
and it just went into the ground and vaporized, and nothing was recovered. But here's the kicker:
That's
there's a
impossible.
I know there's a partial passport and a bandana recovered from the from the Taliban gang. So you got like a full red
Oh,
bandana and like a
oh,
half
so
a
we
burnt passport.
we have his bandana and his passport, but no flight.
Wow.
Nothing else survived.
No,
The metal survived.
right.
That just
That's
disintegrated,
crazy.
right?
Yeah, it is
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, definitely we'll be taking a look at that video. Post it for me in the side chat
I'll
if
do
you
that.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to look into that. I mean, I don't I love conspiracy theories. Um, but it just depends on who they're coming from. If it's coming from people on the left, then
Well, if you
I'm not gonna.
basically if you can if you can see something, photo forensic evidence or video footage, it becomes
Right.
meaningful. But when it's just my information versus someone else's, it tends to go nowhere. But if you can actually look at things
Right.
and then try to apply physics to it, like, okay, so there's no plane, there's no metal, there's no bodies, but we got a bandana and half a passport.
Yeah, we got a bandana, a red bandana. Maybe it was a blood. Maybe it was a blood from the
Yeah.
blood gangs. Yeah, maybe he was on the plane too. I love the movie. I was watching the movie Noah the other day, and the Russell Crowe version. And I'll never forget when I first saw the movie. We were at the movie theater together, and Tubal Cain got on the ark and began fighting Moses in this epic battle to the death, right? And I'm saying to myself, what is going on? You can ask my wife, I almost got up and took us out of the theater and asked for my money back. That's how upset I was. Tubal Cain, how did Tubal Cain get on the ark?
It must be that must be the Noah's Ark story from one of the Masonic Bibles or something, huh?
Those trees in that movie, they're supposed to be the Nephilim. Is that correct?
They were rocks. They were like rock people, basically.
Yeah, that I was not understanding.
God sent these angels down, these angels of light, and they crashed. And once they crashed and hit Earth, they became absorbed in the rocks and then took on the form of a rock, walking rock people, basically deformed rock people, and that was the Nephilim. And they helped Noah build the ark. You know the story, right? It's right there in Genesis, right? No, not exactly.
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah, that's some wild stuff, man. They be coming out with in Hollywood, man. Some wild stuff.
Yeah, you can't watch half of it anymore. I mean,
that's the truth.
Screen these movies now. Make sure there isn't any, sexually explicit stuff, and I don't mind the violence, but not the sexual stuff.
Yeah.
Not too much violence, but not the Kill Bill violence. That's just over the top. I mean, come on, how many people are you gonna kill in 40 minutes, right? It's like,
let's find out.
That Quentin Tarantino, how many people are you gonna kill and the movie plot is only like a couple of days, right? So, those New Yorkers, I tell you, Daniel. The plane hit the Pentagon. Did a plane really hit the Pentagon? What's the story on that, Jay?
You just get 5 frames of footage to observe that. That's all they came out with is a little 5-frame video, and you don't really see a plane. You see an explosion of some sort, but you don't really see evidence of a plane. And then again, there's no plane parts or body parts. Just another. You got 4 vaporized planes in one day, so it's definitely a moment in history because no plane is ever vaporized, but on 9/11, you got 4 vaporized planes. So.
What about that little black box? Isn't that supposed to survive all crashes?
Yeah.
Does Jay think Flight 93 was taken down by a fighter jet?
No, I'm implying that there is no Flight 93, and that's what I was talking. I sent you the footage. There's an indentation in the ground, there's satellite footage of it. An indentation that's already in the ground, like a crater in the shape of wings. And then on 9/11, there's something that happened in the middle. I don't know if it was a bomb that went off or something that makes a circle in what was already there. And then you have no plane parts, no luggage, no metal, no bodies. And if you just think of that for a moment, like how are plane wings going to go through the earth and vaporize? And then again, you've got the bandana and the half of the passport. That's the only thing that came out of it. So I don't think there was a Flight 93 that would follow.
You're gonna get this channel shut down as if
Well,
Spygate didn't already do it.
no, I know. I don't know how YouTube is exactly, but they're
No,
ridiculous
I'm
on
just
their
kidding.
censorship.
I don't really care.
I don't even usually talk about this stuff, but it is 9/11, so you know.
If they flag, if they take down this video because of Ashley Biden's diary, no, they can't now because it's no longer conspiracy. This is no longer a right wing conspiracy, huh, Jefferson? You and your right wing conspiracies. All right wing conspiracies come to be true. Not all, but most of them turn out to be true. And then we learn that the conspiracy theorists were the ones trying to hide the information from coming out.
You know, really, if you really want one that you can find the most evidence of anything I've ever looked at, it's going to be Boston. Tax Day, 2013, the Boston Marathon. That's going to be the one where if you really want to take the time to analyze the footage, you can see the act right in broad daylight. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of scrutiny, but that's the one that you can find without having to read paperwork or hear testimony and this guy says this and this person says this. Like, you can really analyze what you're seeing. So if you ever really want to know something you can look at and see the evidence for yourself, it's going to be Boston.
So this crater was here in 1995, it's saying.
Yeah, I think in the
they
footage
used the crater as like a backdrop for this fake crash, basically.
Right.
Wow. Never forget. No, 9/11 never happened. Oh no, you can't say that. Well, you can say that. You can't say the Holocaust never happened. Did you notice that? But you cannot say. You can say the 9/11 never happened. They don't have a problem with that. YouTube doesn't have a problem with that, right?
I don't know. I think they do now. I think
Oh,
you
they
used to
do.
I think you used to get away with it, but not now. I don't even know how that video is still up there. I think it's probably just sort of it doesn't really have anybody talking during the video. It's showing you different pictures.
Jill should avoid John Woo movies. I don't know who John Woo is. He sounds like a liberal, so maybe I should avoid him.
John Woo.
Who is John Woo?
I don't know, but I'm really liking that name.
What was true about Ashley's journals? Oh my, you didn't read Ashley's journal? What was true about it? Well, let me read some of it to you here.
Hey, Jill, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate the time. I'll see you around, brother.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for joining me. See ya. All right. What was true about it? Well, let's read. Let's just read from it. I mean, you can get this on the internet, Jay Pasick, or Jefferson Spatchcock. I'm sorry, I'm confusing you with your brother. But this is all available on the internet. I mean, I don't understand. Does the liberal have? The liberal has what I call selective Google syndrome, meaning they only select what they want to know, and then they Google only what they select they want to know. That's called selective Googling syndrome. I know it's not in the DSM, but it should be. Showing the boys, this is Ashley writing in her diary, showing the boys my underpants. I don't know, that was a part of another sentence, but here's where she begins talking about why she was doing some of the things that she was doing. Oftentimes, when you work with children and you notice that they're doing and behaving in certain ways, they're over sexualized at a young age. That's a sign, that's a red flag that they might be there might be some abuse going on in their home. All right. So when you see a young girl behaving in such fashion, it's as an educator, as a mandatory reporter myself, I would take that into consideration and start asking questions and maybe get a counselor involved. Okay. So that's what Brittany or that's what Ashley rather. This is Brittany. Brittany is the one that's in jail. Biden looks like he's going after her as well. Um, but
Did you make that picture?
yeah, it's a meme. It's a meme with Biden doing the grabbing, the groping, but you can put
Uh huh.
anyone's picture you want in there. You can put your picture in there. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
So
you're fine, dude. That's funny.
you can put any picture you want in there, in that.
You know, on that picture, man, where his hands are at, or like supposed to be on like the shoulders, it almost kind of looks like he's giving her a wedgie. If you,
Yeah, yeah. All right. So here's a diary. All right. So she's talking about being sexualized at a young age, and she remembers in the grade, maybe I don't know, seventh, sixth, seventh, maybe. Um, I don't have the entire diary, but this was just an excerpt, that she would start doing sexual things, showing the boys her underpants. Well, why are you doing this? At 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, because most likely, could be likely rather, that you're
this is
being
a,
abused
you
by a
said this
family
is a
member.
picture. This is a picture of it.
An excerpt, just a section, a couple of pages.
Oh wow.
Hypersexualized at a young age. What is this due to? Was I molested? I think so. I can't remember specifics, but I do remember trauma. I remember not liking my uh, Woolsack's house. I can't make out that word there. I remember showing somewhat being sexualized with Caroline. I remember having sex with friends at a young age, showers with my dad, and then she puts in parentheses, probably not appropriate. Being turned on when I was supposed to be. Um, I remember the Q-tips. I hated getting my ears clean. Um, Parents having sex. My mother not emotionally available. My father was. Um, my father was message. I could get love from men. I don't know what that means. A lot of it's not really, can't make out what she's saying. Um, but this is a girl's diary. I don't know how old she was when she wrote this. Was she an adult when she wrote this, or a
Yeah, this
child?
this has to, this had to be typed up on like some sort of computer program, dude, because the font on every lowercase g has the same tail. If you look at it real close, look at the Y's too. This had to been typed up on like some sort of computer program.
Oh, you
This
think
is like a
so?
font. Yeah, it looks just like it. I mean, that's perfect every single time, man. Look at that tail.
Oh, maybe this was typed out.
Or like they chose like maybe like a in sets like the different lowercase because they look almost identical, man. That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, well, maybe. But that's the diary that I found on the internet.
Uh huh.
Um, and the DOJ and the FBI have already come out saying that it does exist, and the two people who quote unquote stole the diary have been they're in some trouble basically. They
Mm.
pleaded guilty to felony theft, they call it, because they took the diary to a state, to another state. So they were basically charged, literally, they were charged with interstate transportation of stolen property or conspiracy. And they pled guilty. Two Florida residents pled guilty, to conspiracy to commit interstate transportation of stolen property. So, um, something was in the diary that they were trying to hide, obviously. And then I went over how they actually obtained the diary. They really didn't steal it, but
Mm.
they actually left it in an apartment she stayed at, and she kept her things there. They shouldn't have went into her belongings. That's wrong. Um,
Yeah.
but that's how they obtained the diary. The young lady moved into the apartment that Ashley stayed in and found her stuff that she had left behind. And then they took it and said, "Oh, we're going to make some money with this." So, so that was the story.
Damn. So their greed kind of got them caught. You think? Trying to make money off of it.
Yeah, they were trying to make money off of it. Basically, they were giving Project Veritas gave them $20,000 each for the diary. So, and the whistleblower actually also revealed drug abuse, sex trauma. You know exactly what, as a child, Ashley as a child was being abused. Exactly what was written here in the diary. So that's what's in the diary, Jefferson. What was true about it? I don't know. Believe all women. I thought, right? I thought we believed all women. Guess not when it comes to your president. John Woo directed some classics: The Killer, Hardball, The Boat Tomorrow. Yeah, I don't do Hong Kong videos. Sorry, I'm not a that much into film. She has sexual problems because of her upbringing. Her father showered with her to an inappropriate age. I would say any age is inappropriate to shower with your daughter,
Yeah.
unless it's an infant.
Yeah.
I would
That's
say,
wild, man. That's
yeah,
insane.
I would say let mom handle that, and I'll shower, or I'll for small children or toddlers, maybe one, maybe let
Yeah,
the
that's
man
nuts.
clean or shower the boys or clean the boys. They can't shower themselves at that age, right? So, but I would say that's still I wouldn't allow that. Um, I think the little boy would probably feel more comfortable with dad doing that anyway than mom, right? But
Yeah. Yeah, that's
um,
nuts, man.
yeah, but she was a lot older than 1 or 2, so yeah, that's inappropriate. Um, Kissing your daughter on the lips is also, I would say, inappropriate. Rage. His American movies but are at best fun but dopey. Yeah, I don't do the Hong Kong flicks. We know about the Hong Kong virus and where that yeah, so I don't do Hong Kong or China. I don't do Hong. Oh, Hong Kong is not it. Hong Kong is different.
China.
Yeah, so I don't do the Hong Kong China virus. Um, so yeah, so that's Ashley's diary. You guys know that the diary was from the time she spent in rehab. Oh, so the diary does exist. Oh, okay. I thought it didn't exist at first. Some rehab programs make journal keeping a part of the treatment. Okay. All right. Okay. So why couldn't we talk about this before your president was selected? Well, it's because this country is being run by those who want to see it destroyed so that they can build it back better in their own image. Sort of like what you try to do with your spirituality, right? You want to create you want morality to be created in your image and not the image of God, or you want human beings to behave in a way that doesn't correspond to the image of God, right? That's why you did what you did with marriage, because marriage in of itself, even if the couple doesn't have children, marriage is a reflection of God's image. So why not, if you're Satan, why not destroy the image of God in the earth? God, Satan can't stop us. What he can do is he can make us ineffective. Satan cannot stop you talking trees. He can't stop you because the Holy Spirit indwells you. What he can do is he can make you less effective. He can make Christianity, he can water down Christianity to the point where it's just another religion, right? So that's been his goal since day one in the garden.
Yeah.
Right. When Adam and Eve ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. All right, so link is in the chat. It was written by the Russians.
Russians?
Russia. Russia did it. Russia wrote it. That's it. That settles it. It was Russia. Russia made people gay too.
I drank water like a man. I don't. No, us men, we don't be. Am I right, man? Hoorah! Hoorah!
Go ahead, brother.
So, therefore, people, because they got homosexuals that are relatives, they say Jennings is a gay basher. I got homosexuals in my family. But I can't change that Bible.
That's right.
The Bible is right. Homosexuality is wrong.
That's right. That's it.
Amen. That's Pastor Gino Jennings. I think his
I know
church
who he
in
is.
Philadelphia. You've heard of Gino?
Oh my God, I've been watching him. Shoot, man, probably at least over 10 years.
Yeah, he's I think
first,
he's a modalist.
First Church of God. Oneness Pentecostal. Apostolic tradition. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's
I don't agree with him on everything, man, but he's a trip, man. He's a trip.
Oh yeah. And he's got men in his congregation, which is lacking. Unfortunately, the men nowadays are missing in the church. But when you go to his church and my church, you see men, right, in the forefront, in leadership, right, where they're supposed to be. God created men to lead, period. Doesn't matter how much money you make, you're a man. You should be leading. Even if you make $0, this shouldn't be the case, but even if you make $0 a month and she makes, or a week, or every 2 weeks, or every year, and she makes 50,000, you still are the natural born leader, man. There's nothing she could do about it. That's the way God created you. What happened when Eve ate of the tree in the garden? Talking trees. What happened when Eve ate of the tree in the garden?
Well, she was tricked by the serpent, and then they knew sin. The curse of sin was put upon them.
After Eve ate?
Yeah, well, both Adam and Eve, since the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety.
I'm asking what happened after Eve ate of the tree.
She went and told Adam.
What did God do? What did God do? Did he curse the earth? What did he do?
Well, I imagine he separated man from God, which was the whole needing of the gospel, right?
After Eve ate?
No, she went and told Adam to eat this because she told him the same thing that the serpent told her.
Right, but what did God do? What did God do after Eve ate? At that moment, after Eve ate, what did God do?
Well, he
starts
got
with
upset,
an N.
Right?
Starts with an N.
N?
Starts with an N and ends with a G.
You got me, man.
Nothing. No thing. God did not do anything after Eve ate. He did not curse the land and do all those things that we read about until after Adam ate. What does that say to you? That should tell you right there. Once I read that in Genesis, I said, okay, well, hey, what is that telling me God made the man the leader, and the man is responsible for everything that's going on today. Men are responsible for Joe Biden, not women.
I never heard anyone say that before.
I know what people say. Oh, the women are voting for. Yes, I know liberal women are voting for Biden. Overwhelmingly, women are voting for Biden and Democrats. The men are responsible. God holds the man responsible for what goes on in the earth. God holds the man responsible, not you. You're supposed to submit, woman. You're supposed to submit. That's all you have to do. Which is easier, submitting or loving as Christ loved the church? Which is easier to do?
Which one's easier? I would imagine submitting.
You think submitting is easier than loving someone as Christ loves the church?
Yeah, because that's not part of our nature. You're asking me from a human perspective, right? I mean, I think it's easier just to sit down, just to plop down and just do whatever you're told than it is to sit there and love someone, because it's not really within our nature to do that, because that's of Christ's nature.
All right, I would accept both are equally difficult, but certainly I would say loving someone. That means if they spit in your face, you got to forgive them. Loving someone as Christ loves the church, I would say, is exponentially more difficult.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Submitting, that's easy. I submit all the time. I go to work. Oh, 8 hours a day. Okay, that's fine. I'll clock out or punch out or whatever. I submit to my employer. I do that all the time. I submit to my mother when I was a child, not as an adult. She can give me advice, but I don't submit to her. So submission is easy because we've been doing it our entire lives. Someone convinces us at some point in time that submission is bad, and you're a slave if you submit, right? And then it becomes hard. But children submit, right? There's some knuckleheads out there. I'm not. There's always going to be some knuckleheads out here, disobedient to parents and those things. But we've been submitting our entire lives. Loving someone as Christ loves the church, that's hard. Someone makes a video about you, and you want to respond so bad, right? But Christ says nope. You have to love them the way I loved them when they hung me on that cross. He could have called down. The Bible says he could have called down legions of angels. I know I would have. I don't know about you talking trees.
That's agreed. That's what I was saying earlier. It's like
I would have called down Michael and all of them. I would have called down every single angel and wiped out the entire planet. That's what I would have done. But Christ's love is sacrificial. Men have to sacrifice. Sometimes I can't buy the shoes that I want, or the coat that I want, or the car that I really want to drive. Now I'm still getting my Cadillac when I turn 50. There's nothing anyone can do about that. Call me selfish if you want to. I am going to purchase a Cadillac before I turn 50. All right.
Well, by then it's probably going to be an electric version.
Oh my goodness! Did you hear California is going to by 2030 they want all gas cars off the street, basically?
That's nuts, man. That's wishful thinking, man. That's insane. I mean, how do you do that though? Because it's like privately owned vehicles that people own. Like right now, like there's literally people making payments on those vehicles. It's like, what are you going to do? Tell them, you're going to let them buy these cars and then just like, what are you going to do? Confiscate their cars?
Maybe, yeah. Throw them in jail like they did.
Which, to be honest with you, with all the crap going on, that wouldn't surprise me either. So.
Oh yeah, they're gonna put them in jail, fine you. If you don't get this car, you're gonna lose your job, just like they did with the vaccine mandates, right?
Yep.
Are you a beta male?
Ask you, why can a person with a penis not be a woman?
Because women don't have penises.
Why not? Can you find me a dictionary definition of woman which includes that?
I would only point to your mom. Did your mom have a penis?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yo, that dude's wild, man.
Yeah, that's Vosh, and against
Doug Tenable.
Doug Tenable. That's his name. Yeah, I think he
Yep.
got banned. He got banned from YouTube, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a channel for a while, man, and
Yeah,
they got rid of my
shut him
man,
down.
dude.
Shut him down. Shut him down.
Yep.
Too many right-wing conspiracy theories. Too
Ugh.
many. Too many to get you shut down, even though they'll come true eventually. And they won't restore your channel, by the way. I got my channel shut down because of conspiracy theories, and now it's comes out that those conspiracy theories are true, like Biden's laptop, Spygate, the fact that Obama and Hillary spied on Trump's campaign. Did they return those strikes? Did they rescind? No, because they're liberals. They're liberals, and we can't trust them. At least the other side. I remember my mama saying, "You should always side with the one who at least pretends to be the Christian." If you have to choose between two idiots, at least the one that pretends to promote biblical values has a standard that you can hold them to. The late Desmond Tutu, who was the leader in the apartheid movement, I think, not Tutu. Who was the guy from South Africa? The apartheid movement in South Africa. Who was that?
Mm,
Someone in the chat help me out.
yeah.
Apartheid, we know, is the system of racial segregation and oppression, the real segregation, real oppression, not what's going on, well, not what they're claiming is oppression today.
Yeah.
But it was in South Africa, and there was a man by the name of, geez, why can't I remember his name? Who knows who this guy is? Come on, somebody in the chat. All these people watching, you guys can't help me out when I need help.
I'm drawing a blank too, brother.
Now it wasn't Desmond Tutu, but it might have been Desmond Tutu. But I'm thinking of Nelson Mandela. But it wasn't Nelson Mandela, actually. It was Desmond Tutu, and he was having a conversation with someone or interview, and he said, he was asked, well, why do you trust Bush? Right, I think Bush was the president at the time. He said he trusts Bush over the Democrat or over those who don't promote the same values, is because even if Bush might be lying, he at least will try to keep the appearance of those values, as opposed to someone who doesn't hold those values and is trying to push other values onto children, women and children. Wickedness, basically. LGBTQ, transgenderism. This is normal. This is natural. This is healthy. I would rather take the individual who is pretending to be a Christian, because at least I could say, hey, I thought you were a Christian. The one that's in power, remember, that individual is going to implement their ideologies. So if someone pretends to be a Christian and they get into power and then they start promoting LGBTQ, at least we could say, hey, you told me you held these values. We can't do that with the liberal because he's going into the game telling you he's going to get rid of your guns, telling you he's going to get rid of school choice and the parents' rights and over their children to make decisions like changing their gender. He's telling you what he's going to do. So what do you have to fall back on when they do it? Nothing. Nothing.
Looks like you got someone in the comments that's upset with you, man.
Oh, that's nothing new. Jill is the Kanye West of the Christian world. Why don't you click on the link and Ox and come have a conversation
Ox.
rather than throwing the racial epithets of slurs. Kanye West, just like many blacks, is starting to wake up to what's going on. It's not about Republican versus Democrat. The evil people of the world who want control, okay, there are groups fighting over power. Ultimately, they're fighting over power within each other. Yeah, they all go to the same banquets. Yeah, they all marry their daughters and sons, but they ultimately are fighting over power and position amongst each other. Just like when I go to college, I'm amongst a group of people now who all had the same issues that I had, that the people had in the hood, but they're now fighting over the position of who is the top student, right? So they're still fighting each other, right? So I can't look at the people in the hood and say, oh, well, or look at the people in the college and say, oh, they're different from the people in the hood. They're the same. There's only three things in the world the Bible teaches: the pride of life, the lust of the flesh, and
Lust
what's
of
the
the eye
third
and the
one?
pride of
Lust
life.
of the eye.
Yeah.
Those are the only three things: pride, possession, and I can't think of the other one.
Lust of the
Pride
flesh, lust of the
and
eye,
lust.
pride of life. Yeah.
Yeah. You see something, you want it, you do what you want to do, you do what you have to do to get it, even if it's stepping on and harming other people. That's the only thing that's in the world. So I don't I understand that these individuals all go to the same banquets. I understand they're rich. Rich people hang out with each other, even though they may hate each other. Just like in the hood. We all go into the same, the Bloods and the Crips all go into the same shops. They eat together sometimes. Some of them are in the same family. But that doesn't mean that one is not promoting different or ideology that is dangerous over the other. That's all. That's all this is about. I'm not mixing politics with religion. I'm just simply recognizing that there are concepts and teachings and principles that turn into policy that harm women and children. And if we don't speak out up against these principles or these ideas and policies, we harm women and children, simply put. Kanye is talented, but he's a devil. Um, why is Jill playing the race card? Kanye is a dumbass, no talent, big mouth. He wasn't that before he decided to come out as a Trump supporter. This is what I'm talking about, the inconsistency of these people. They are not consistent with anything they do or say. They even want to change the consistency we have in mathematics in that concept. They want 1 + 1 to equal 3. They're inconsistent in everything that they apply, or these definitions in their application of these words that they use. They're inconsistent.
Yeah.
Um, there was nothing wrong with Kanye West before he came out in support of Trump. Nothing at all. Now all of a sudden he has mental issues. He portrayed his race, of course. You know that was coming. Anytime a black man thinks for himself, that's betrayal of his race. Ultimately, the most racist people on the planet today are white liberals. The most racist people, how do I know that? Because when you put them in a room with a black conservative, they don't know how to handle themselves. They will become racist. They will start using racial epithets like Uncle Tom, like uh, Uncle Ruckus. Okay, they'll lose their minds. They would never say that in a room full of black people. They would never say these terms. But when it's a black conservative, those types of insults are off limit. Raccoon is another. They use the raccoon emoji, on Twitter and Facebook. If there's a black individual who's not towing the Democratic Party lines or on the Democratic plantation, like we say. Kanye has always been a joke. Okay. Well, Ox is a musician himself, so perhaps he can judge music. I I stopped listening to music in the '90s and early 2000s simply because it just became trash. As soon as Lil Wayne came out, when Lil Wayne, let me tell you when I stopped listening to hip hop. Lil Wayne, when Ludacris came out and started writing songs after the lyrics of nursery rhymes, nursery school rhymes, talking trees,
When
nursery
did which
school rhymes.
refresh my memory? Which song was that?
I don't even want to think about it. But,
Bro, I haven't heard Lil Wayne in so long,
but,
dude. It's not even funny, dude.
but no, Ludacris was a rapper, and he took the songs from like your nursery school. Down, down,
Yeah,
baby, nah, nah, the roller coaster, things, 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 he took
yeah.
songs from a nursery song and made it into a rap song, and people liked it. I said, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm used to Wu-Tang Clan. I'm used to lyrics. I'm Nas, Biggie. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Liquid Swords.
Actual lyrical skills that you had to have back then. Not just shake your
Gangstar.
behind. Gangstar. Uh, not just shake your behind or pull out a gun and point it at the screen. And how tough you are. Nowadays, they don't even do that anymore. They're homosexuals now. Oh,
Oh man.
it's gay rappers now. What would have happened to a gay rapper in 1995? Ox, Ox, tell me, what would have happened to a gay rapper in 1995? What would have happened to his music industry or his music career? I'm not talking about promoting any violence. I'm talking about his music career. He would have, he would have gotten no respect from anyone. He wouldn't have been able to collab with anyone,
Yeah.
right?
I
And
think this dude
you
right
know,
here, Prophet of Profit, man, he's on to something. I did like College Dropout.
see,
That was about the only one though. That was the only
I was
one. After that I stopped listening.
I was in college when that came out, so I just wasn't listening to music at all, at rap at all. I had started listening more so to like sports radio
Yeah.
I had just joined a new church I still belong to today, and I would listen to my pastor's tapes. I remember I
Mm.
was on the bus one day, and this um, guy asked me, "Hey, what you listening to?" I said, "The gospel," and then that was a and God does that to me. He'll give you opportunities to preach the gospel, and that was just um, a springboard, right, to preach the gospel. So
That was smooth.
yeah, I would listen. I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do the ludicrous. I couldn't do the 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 down south rappers started becoming popular. It was like,
Yeah.
what happened to lyric? What happened to rap? Where you
That's
actually
true.
had to put together a bar, 16 bars, whatever you want to call it. You actually had to put together a, a coherent statement or sentence and make it rhyme. Whatever happened to that?
Just
Like,
disappeared.
it's gone. It's gone. So I guess Ox would know because Ox is the expert. If your lips are moving, you are a liar. And the Bible teaches that also. That would include your lips. That's why you need to repent, Ox, and accept Christ as your Lord and personal Savior, because He's the only one that can fix your lying lips. Otherwise, your lying lips and the rest of your body parts, will wind up in hell. And Ox doesn't like hell. He thinks hell is a bad place. Hell is a good place because people get to go where they want to go, just like work or um, to the grocery store. If you want to be there, God will grant your desire, and you'll be the only. He'll keep you there for eternity. I don't know if once you get there you're going to want to stay, but um, it'll be too late by then. Amen. The Bible is a book of lies written by man. Well, if you can find one lie in the book, I will become, I will convert to agnosticism. You can't find one lie in the book, so you'll just keep saying it. Daniel, what's going on? Daniel is here. You're not a preacher, witness for the Lord. Okay, I guess he's having a conversation. I know he's not talking about me. Nursery rhymes aren't good anyway. Rockabye baby and the bow breaks and the baby falls. I don't know what are you talking about, Daniel? Um, Auto tune was another horrible creation of uh, in music where you no longer can sing now, or you no longer have to know how to sing. Um, you just simply speak into the auto tune, and it creates an automatic tune. Your voice is now sounds like this, and you sell millions of dollars in records. Lefties hate conservative minorities. Yes, more than they hate conservative whites. Yes, because we destroy all their narratives. That's why it's hard for me to get company, to have company, even at my job. I mean, they just look at me like, oh my God, here comes Mr. Jill. Here comes Mr. Teacher Jill. Teacher Jill. Teacher Jill is what they would call teachers, and they would call you by your first name, but they would put teacher in front of your first name, like Teacher Rob or Teacher John, or but when they see me coming, boy, they run. They run to the corner like the little rats that they are, teaching our children that LGBT. I called one of these rat liberal. They're all liberals. They're 99% liberal. I'm the only one in here that actually promotes any conservative values. But I caught one of my students. I'm nosy, so I'll go and to start rambling through their stuff. Clean out his desk because he never cleaned it. And I found a textbook. This is a textbook, Talking Trees, actually. It wasn't, maybe might have been a workbook or some sort of supplementary type of materials that goes with the actual textbook, one of those things.
Yeah.
And I open up this work, this text, and in it said, it talked about the Republican Party and its founders and its foundation, its beginning. And they can't hide the fact. Here's what the left will do. They can't hide the fact that the Republican Party was founded as an abolitionist movement, meaning the people who joined this party were doing so because they wanted to end slavery in the United States. So here's what they do instead. They will call those Republicans, quote unquote, radical Republicans. I looked it up. No such thing, no such term was ever used up until 2000, whatever. No such term had ever been recorded in anyone's writings up until 2000, whatever, 2010, 15, whatever. They created the term radical Republicans in order to distinguish the Republicans then from the Republicans now. So the Republicans then, here's what they're saying, or here's what the undercurrent is saying that you sort of have to catch or read between the lines. The Republicans then are not the same as the Republicans today. These are radical Republicans. Boy, I chewed her out. I said, how can you teach this? She said, that's what it said in the book. I said, that's what it says in the book. I said, all right, well, I'm just gonna have to contact Pearson. Because there's no historical evidence for the Republicans ever to be even labeled or considered radical.
So that person you said you contact, is that the publishing company? That name you said, Pearson?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was probably Pearson or McGraw, one of them. But that's how subtle these people are. And they remind me so much of their father in the garden, right? And what he did with what God had told Adam. Very subtle change is enough to throw off the entire society, right? Look at what they did with marriage. Fascist chill. Okay, now here's another one. Here's another coward.
Maynard saves.
Yeah,
All right,
Maynard
what's up,
saves.
Maynard?
Yeah.
What's up, Maynard?
You can't save anybody. You can't even save yourself.
Yeah, I said religitard. Maynard's got jokes, man.
For a religitard channel watching, I found it. Yeah, he doesn't understand what fascism is. Here's what fascism does. I'll give you three. I guess you can call it. Three signs that you're living in a fascist state. Okay, three signs. The first thing is, and I have a little slideshow I want to show you. Here's how you know liberal that you're living in a fascist state, and here's how you can determine who the fascists are. All right, it's not what you hear people say or just the label that you hear people throw around on the MSNBC or NBC. You notice they're not giving you any specifics when they say Donald Trump is a fascist. The the only thing that they will provide you with, as far as information is concerned, low information, low IQ liberal, the only information they will provide you with is the fact that Trump is a nationalist. And then they're hoping you're dumb enough to take that information and then conclude nationalism equals fascism. All right. Do some research on in your history, and you can find out what fascism is based on what fascists did under Mussolini and Giovanni Gentile, who was uh, the sort of the brain of Mussolini. He basically studied Gentile, and that's where much of his uh, much of his policies come from, derive from. Um, so here's how you can know you're in a fascist regime. Number one, that would be your Democratic Party. Unity between the media and political parties. So if you're part of an organization like the Democratic Party, or you support the Democratic Party that is united 100%, I mean 100%. I mean, they're giving a script at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you turn on the news, and every single station is repeating the same thing. The Mockingbird Media, it's called Mockingbird Media. They're all repeating the same way, the same thing, the same way. Am I not right about that?
Yeah.
Talking trees. Am I not right about that? You can turn on one station, Channel 3, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, all the left wing media
Yeah, they work in
platforms,
locks. Yeah, they work in lockstep.
all support, protect. Look at Biden's laptop, look at Ashley's diary, and they will suppress information that is harmful for the party that they are supporting. That's what we saw in Mussolini's fascist run state in Italy. It's exactly what we saw. I'm only giving you facts. You can come with your opinion, fascist, racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. You can come with all that if you want to, but I'm going to respond with the facts. That number two, unity between academia and political parties. One of the first things Mussolini, Hitler, all these guys did was anyone that had shown a history of dissent, they silenced. Either they disappeared or they no longer had their jobs. Unity between academia and political parties. Harvard, Stanford, Berkeley, all of these individuals, all of these tentacles support the Democratic agenda. The only schools that support the conservative agendas seem to be the really small schools. I plan on teaching for one of those schools one day, where I can openly express my faith and not fear uh, any sort of reprisal or losing my position because of my beliefs, whether politically or my religious beliefs. Unity between academia and political parties. That's what we saw in Italy under Mussolini. And lastly, using race as a political weapon. Using race as a political weapon. So there is your definition of fascism. Definitions come about primarily based on experience and history, not what you want to believe or not what your feelings want you to believe, actually, I should say. So we know who the fascists are. And also, there was one more, actually. Number 4, there was one more. Rules for thee and not for me. Think of Gavin Newsom recently, um, who during the pandemic shuts down all of the businesses in California except for wineries. Why? Because Gavin Newsom owned a winery. Rules for thee and not for me. So, grocery stores, uh, any sort of bar was shut down. Not his winery. You can still go to his winery and purchase wine and sit down and drink and taste it and sip it. So, rules for thee and not for me. And then you have a cult like totalitarian, crushing dissenters um, type of cult. That's fascism. We're going to ban you. We're going to block you. You're not going to be allowed on social media. You're not going to be allowed to speak. When you go to these liberals' channels, and one time I went on there and I just said shalom, and it's like, oh, block him, block him. Here comes Joe. Oh, block him. You know, that's fascism. Like you're practicing fascism. Every time you ban somebody because you don't like their views, you're practicing fascism. Cancel culture. Who created cancel culture? You did. You did so that you could silence dissenters. That's what fascism is. Okay, so there you go. There's a lesson on fascism for everyone. So,
This Ox, is he native?
Ox, I don't know if he's.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
like
know
I'm reading what you put up here on the thing, and he said my ancestors. I'm guessing he's native.
He's a Native American. Oh, so am I. So there you go. Hey, we're both Native Americans, Ox. Hey, guess what? I also found out that some of the people from your tribe, before the white man even arrived on the scene, were scalping the out of people in my tribe. Did you know that was going on before the white man arrived, or were you just all smoking peace pipes, singing "Kumbaya," holding hands in a big circle? Yeah, shut up, liberal. Nursery rhymes were made up of false wife of Adam and her, yeah, Lilith. Um, Nursery rhymes are dangerous to sing to children. Sing and Jesus loves the children instead. Yeah. Yeah. Some of these nursery rhymes I'm hearing come from, have dark histories, like Ring Around the Posy, right? Pocket
Yeah.
full of Ring Around the Rosy, Pocket full of Posy had something to do
Mm.
with smallpox or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, some of these nursery store rhymes, the original ones, have like a dark um, meaning. Sock says, "Thank you for proving what childish morons and Christians are. Call names, block comments. Yeah, I don't block any comments. I certainly haven't blocked anyone from clicking on the link, but yet you stay in the side chat and run your mouths or type. I'm agnostic, but majority of these YouTube online atheists are bottom of the barrel people, bringing nothing to the conversation. Okay, yeah, if you want to have a conversation with a Christian that can basically answer all of your questions and leave you with nothing but the bare nakedness of your own idiosyncratic personal opinion, and of course, your anti-supernaturalism. Um, if you would like someone to do that for you, you won't. You don't. You won't. Then click on the link. I mean, everything that they bring to us about the Bible or any attack that they bring gets shot down promptly. And then what do they do? Uh, Talking trees. What do they do next? You get you get an objection about the Bible. You solve it. You show them that they misread or misunderstood. What's the next move? Tell me.
Usually it's accusations and railing.
Before that,
What do you mean?
they're going to try again. They're going to
Oh,
come with
with like
another one, right? Oh, what about
You know.
this? What about this? Oh, what about this
Oh
passage?
yeah, like it's like a endless chain of whatabouts. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna come with more and more. Hey, this is how you solve that. This is how you relieve yourself. It's called the Gish Gallop fallacy or Gish Gallop method, rather. Um, it's dishonest tactic. Give give me your best three contradictions. Once I crush those ox, once I put those in the bag and send them back home to your mama, don't come to me with a fourth contradiction. Now you need to reflect on why you believed those three so-called contradictions were in fact contradictions. You need to reflect on that before you come to me with a fourth and a fifth. Why did you believe those were contradictions? Is it because you never had anyone to teach you to answer those questions? You can use that as an excuse. God will accept that as an excuse. He will forgive you, but you have to ask for forgiveness. You need to reflect on what you're told when you're in a room with a Christian. Also, what we'll see is they'll do what you said, talking tree, and they'll start railing on you. But they'll go to another Christian's channel and deposit the same so-called contradictions.
Mm.
God will judge you for that. If anything, people say because I'm of the reform camp, I'm in the reform camp. Well, if God didn't elect me, haha, I'm okay, right? No, 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 no. God
You said you
doesn't.
were.
Yeah, I'm in the
You said you
reform
were
camp.
reformed.
So
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So the non-believer will look at my worldview, my position, when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to scripture or soteriology, and say, well, then I have an excuse on just no, you don't. Not when you dishonestly took information that you received from one Christian, ignored it, and then went on another Christian's channel and tried to wreck their faith because they were young in the faith or novice or new to the faith or a sheep. You tried to
Yeah.
wreck their faith with these contradictions after hearing the answers to the contradictions. God can judge you to hell for eternity on that alone.
Mm.
God can judge you for eternity to hell on that alone. That's
Yeah.
how holy our God is. That's how perfect our God is. Any little imperfection is enough to send you to hell for eternity, which is why you need that's why Jesus is the only way. He's the only way. John chapter 14, verse 6. He is the only way out of that conundrum. Sorry to break the good news to you. All right. Did you want to say anything before I wrap it up?
No, no.
Talking.
I mean,
Okay.
that's just some wild stuff over here in the chat. In the chat, man, people came out
What
of
do you see?
nowhere.
Who else is in the chat talking smack?
Uh, let's see. I mean, so
These
far it's just looks like the.
Ox is native as Lizzie Warren, Elizabeth Warren, what Trump called Pocahontas. Remember her? Yeah,
Yeah, I
she
remember that.
claimed to be like half Indian, Native American, and half white, or something to that effect. And comes to find out, she didn't have any Native American in her, but she benefited from all of the social programs that are out there for those who
Yeah,
have Native American blood, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Native Americans,
Oh, no, 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 no.
is speaking of 9/11, rather. Um,
That's rich.
all right, I'm going to show you this clip. This is from. I don't know if you've heard of Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh. That name sounds familiar. Yeah.
He's the one that's been going
Is that the
viral
dude
of
with
late.
the? Is that the dude with the video about what's a woman?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. What is a woman? You're gonna find this one to be quite hilarious.
One side that's upset that more babies are going to live, and then you've got another side that's happy that they're going to live. And also, they're kind of revealing some things that they said that were total nonsense. Like, for example, we're hearing in the media all these lamentations about abortion clinics closing. Planned Parenthood clinics are closing all over the country. We're supposed to be upset about that. Of course, it's like, yeah, I couldn't be happier to see those people unemployed. But also, I thought they said that abortion was only 3% of what Planned Parenthood does. So why would Roe being overturned mean that doesn't make any sense?
They tell on themselves in their actions and their words and reveal the lie, which we knew what was a lie from the beginning. Oh, Planned Parenthood, 97%, 98% of what they do is helping women. It's not abortions. And why are these clinics shutting down? And I would also add to that, why are these liberals attacking pregnancy planning centers as a protest or to protest the reversal of Roe v. Wade? So you're going to attack a pregnancy center where women go to get help, prenatal care. You're going to attack that and destroy that infrastructure, destroy that business because you're mad because Roe v. Wade was overturned. So you're going to harm more women to protest what you think is protecting women. No, you're just
That's
evil.
wild, man.
You're just
That's
evil.
wild stuff, man.
This is evil.
You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
that describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
A woman is a woman. Is a woman is a woman is a woman is a woman. Looking like a gay Jesus. Who is that? I mean, come on, dude. You could at least shave the goatee. I mean, if you want to, I mean, if you want to be a woman, I mean, at least present yourself as a woman. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it is totally inconsistent. If they don't want to adhere to standards and reality, they just change the definition of the word. Or they strip the word of its definition and suggest that I can still use this word and apply this word to reality, but the word has no meaning. It has no meaning because they want to be able to stretch and bend and ply the meaning of the word any way they feel suited to. If I feel like a woman tomorrow, I can just put on high heels and some makeup, and I can feel like a man the following day and take that stuff off. Right?
The following video is from a teacher conference where they learn how to talk to children about genitals. I'm going to let the video speak for itself.
We have bits. We have innie and outie, front hole, junk, goodies, package. This activity is just showing us that we have hundreds of words that we can use to talk about our bodies that make us feel really connected.
This is what we mean when we say the word groomers. Do you want teachers talking to your kids about back holes and their goodies? Pull your kids from public schools.
You know, Nick, Burger King, if you were not aware, we as believers are boycotting Burger King because during Pride Month, they came out with a menu, a gay menu, basically, LGBTQ menu. And on this menu, talking trees, believe it or not, you think that's bad. Well, that's the worst. That's worse because that's children. At least Burger King, you're dealing primarily with adults. But children, of course, hear everything, don't they? They sop up everything. They're like little sponges, right? If you want to know what's going on in the home, work as a teacher, and you'll find out what's going on in these homes because they will sop it up and they'll spill it right on the floor, right in front of and you'll know exactly what's going on. and I was talking about child abuse and Ashley Biden. A teacher should have picked up on that. How she spoke about how she was, now, if the diary is real, you provided good evidence to suggest that it might not be genuine, but she was being very sexual at a very young age, and that's usually a sign of abuse. Um, but yeah, that Burger King decided that they were going to have a menu with bottom. You know how the burger bun has a top and then it has a bottom, right?
Yeah.
The top part is a little bit more concave. It's a little bit more curved, like a dome almost, and the bottom part is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
flat, like a flat piece of bread or whatever. They decided they're going to do bottom burgers, meaning no top and no bottom, but just two bottom pieces as
Yeah, I
the
can't hear you. I
top and
think
the
your
bottom.
mic cut out, brother.
Oh, is that better? I can hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yo,
Okay, talking. You can't
you
hear.
there? You there?
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think that
Yeah, I can
was.
hear you. You were right in the middle of telling me what was you had just finished saying that there was the top of the bun and the bottom, and then all of a sudden your mic went silent and I couldn't hear you.
No. That was your mic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay.
Everyone else can hear me. All right. So yeah. So now they have this bottom only menu where you can buy. It's supposed to be LGBTQ friendly. Where you can buy
Uh-huh.
two top buns as your
Yeah.
burger or two bottom buns. So, for that reason, I'm boycotting Burger King. Okay.
Really? That's their selling two top or two. Okay.
Two
All
top or
right.
two bottoms, right? Yeah, two tops, two top or two
Oh my
bottom.
God. That's
So yeah, you get
crazy.
to choose which one you want. You want a top, you want two tops, or you want two bottoms. All right.
Yeah.
So I chose neither. So I'm
Well, that's gonna mess
boycotting.
everything up. I mean, if you think about it, because what if everybody comes in and starts getting, so everyone's just gonna get like the messed up burger after them.
Yeah, they're gonna run out of bottoms
Yeah, everybody's gonna get a top bun.
because all the bottoms will catch AIDS. All right.
That's
So,
nuts, man.
All right, let's see
Mm.
who else has a comment. Oh, we have more from uh what is a woman?
Answer questions about women's studies, and so shouldn't the first answer you should be able to provide is what exactly is a woman?
Well, for me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what are they identifying as?
As a woman.
But what is that?
As a woman.
Do you know what a circular definition is?
I do.
It's sort of like what you're doing right now, where a woman is a woman.
Because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essentialist definition of gender. I think it sounds like you would like me to give you a set of biological or cultural characteristics that are associated with one gender or the other.
I'm not seeking any type of definition. I'm just seeking a definition.
Yeah, and I gave you one.
Well, now I can say I've been to college. Glad I didn't pay for it.
All right. Wow.
All right.
That's who's teaching your daughters. That's who's teaching your sons. Can we homeschool for college now? Can we homeschool for college? Can I become an accredited college myself?
Mm.
That's who's teaching your college students, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I tried to warn them.
My body, my right.
And that's what happens. That's what happens after they graduate college in about 10 years. That's how they look.
My body, my right.
And that's how they sound.
Oh my God.
Oh, here's your president, Biden, who we now know a diary was stolen with information about him uh, showering with his daughter. Here's some more footage of your president in action.
How old are you? 9 years old. The one thing I want you girls to remember, no serious guys till you're 30 years old. What?
There's your dark extreme goal. The Republicans are going to be dark and extreme, right? Yeah. All right. I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Are you smarter than a U.S. Supreme Court Judge Cheryl? No, she's not. I'm sure. Maybe she is. Who knows? Um, why did Big Burger King do this to us? Yeah, Chick-fil-A. Go to Chick-fil-A. Don't eat Burger King. Don't eat Burger King.
Why did Burger King do this to us?
Yeah, don't eat it. I would say just Chick-fil-A. I wouldn't eat anything. I don't eat anything but Chick-fil-A. I do sometimes. I might go to Wendy's, but mostly I'll try. I'll just eat the Chick-fil-A. I'm never buying Burger King again. I'm sorry.
I don't think
But
you're
when
missing out on much, man.
I'm sorry.
I
Yeah,
don't think you're missing out on much.
yeah, no, I know. But when you openly promote ideas that harm women and children, I can't support you in any way. I'll try not to, at least. Sometimes you're purchasing things and you don't know who you're supporting on the other end. But um, if I'm consciously aware of the fact that you're promoting LGBTQ, gender bending, transformer, more than meets the eye ideology, I cannot support that. Because not only do these things not correspond to reality, they don't correspond to scripture, and they don't correspond to scripture because they don't correspond to reality, and they don't correspond to reality because they don't correspond to scripture. I know that's a circular argument, but so are all arguments circular, ultimately. June has been Pride Month ever since Baal and Aphrodite, right? We get the word Aphrodite, I guess. Aphrodite. Uh, were gods in Israel. Yeah, they Baal worship was going on in Israel before and after God called out the group to Himself. So yeah, they chose the month of June, same time to celebrate. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, Daniel taught me something new. Did you know that Pride Month, well, month of June, was where Baal worship was heightened? I
I
guess
never
Daniel
heard of
said.
that before.
Yeah.
Never
Wow.
heard that.
Yeah. So yeah, well, a conspiracy theorist once told me that all these things are basically planned. Her name is Mrs. Joe. Um, so maybe that's true. No, Clarence Thomas is much smarter. He says. Okay. Um, that poor tortured beard. Yeah. I mean, what? I mean, what's
You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
Womanhood is something that, just as Ethan explained, I cannot define because I am not
But
myself.
you used the word. So what did you mean when you said trans women are women if you don't know what it means?
Right. So here's
he? They both had beards. I think the other one was a little transformer himself as well, and
I don't know.
little Decepticon. His little Decepticon self. Um, I think he had a little beard going on there too. Also, huh? Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Did you want to say anything before I hang this up? Before I
No,
shut this
brother.
down?
No, you're good,
Okay.
man. I'm a good stream. I'm a hop off, brother.
All right. All right. Thanks for coming on, and
Yeah.
I might be back next week, Lord willing. Maybe it probably be a couple of weeks. I'm gonna start streaming every 2 weeks. I really don't need to stream every week. But so maybe in a couple of weeks, Lord willing, you'll see me back here, 12 o'clock noon.
Gotcha.
I might be talking slavery too. I have a debate coming up on
Oh, okay.
slavery. So
Who you debating with?
Mark Reed.
Mark Reed. Okay.
I don't know who this guy is, but that's his name. He sounds
Mark Reed.
familiar.
I feel like I've heard that name before. Yeah.
I have too, but I just didn't Google him yet. I'm sure he's been on the debate
Mark
scene.
Reed. He's probably one
Yeah.
of them dudes debating over there on Donnie's channel, Standing for Truth. I feel like I've heard that name over there somewhere.
I know I have, but I just can't. I'll look him up. But that's what I'm supposed to be debating. So, and it's coming up on the 18th. The debate is
What form are y'all
on.
debating on?
You know what? It's a new channel who's starting out, and he's trying to grow his channel.
Yeah.
And he might not be new. I have to look up who he is. I don't even think I'm subscribed to him. I'm going to subscribe now. I just got the email. It's called the Debate Cafe, I think, something to that effect.
Debate Cafe. I'll look it up.
Yeah, but he sent an email to me and he said, "Is anyone interested in debating these topics?" I responded, and then it just went from there. But I haven't actually researched any of these people. But hey, look, if he wants to debate me, it's probably because he hasn't heard any of my arguments. I'm not bragging. It's all done not by might nor power, but by the power of the Holy Spirit. But he's probably never heard any of my arguments because no one, including Pine Creek, that hears my argument for slavery in the Bible or the lack thereof, wants to debate me on this topic. That's just how rock solid it is. So I'm going to, because it's true. That's why it's rock solid, right? We stand on a bedrock of truth.
That's right.
Rather than a shifting, ever moving, sinking sand, like the songwriter would say, that you stand on, liberal. All right, but thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.
No problem, man.
Talking
Alrighty,
trees.
brother.
God bless you. So next time I'm live, slavery was a prison job will be the topic. Slavery was a prison job. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Slavery was a prison job. Slavery was prison, but it was also a prison job. And guess what? Such is still the case today. Such is still the case today. Repent or die, liberal, and stop watching fake news. Stop voting for Democrats, especially if you're black. You're just voting for your own demise. Can't you see that by now? It's been 60 years. Can't you see that by now? Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Tucson, Arizona, Louisville, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 314 officers shot in 2021. Can't you see that? Can't you see what's going on in your own neighborhood? You call yourself black. Repent or die, liberal.
If you reject Christ, then the moment you take your first step through the gates of hell, the only thing you will hear is all of creation standing to its feet and applauding and praising God because God has rid the earth of you.
I take full responsibility for my going to hell.